welcome to another episode of Streets and Scholars. This is episode 14, and I am Alex Alonso, and I'm sitting here with FG, aka Frank Thornton. And how was your week, man?
Oh, it's been a long week, but it was pretty good.
Oh, okay.
Nice weather out there, so I can't complain.
Hey, man, the weather is usually always good here in California. Not for those people to try to hate, and it's one of the reasons why there's so much traffic on the roads.
Man, definitely with that.
And I'm tired of people moving here.
Yeah.
And I'm always seeing apartment buildings being built and houses being built, and I'm like, man, we got enough people that live in this area.
Exactly, bro. I feel the same way. That's every time I look up, I say, you guys gonna build some more freeways or some more streets, but y'all just cramming them in, man.
Nah, man, they're just building more buildings, 4-story, 5 stories, and just trying to get as many people in here to pay the crazy gas prices, pay the crazy rent, pay the crazy mortgages, and all that other stuff, and giving us small raises at the workplace. The workplace is not even giving raises that are matching
It's not
the increase in inflation.
No, definitely,
So, y'all stay in your cities, stay in your states.
Right.
We don't need any more people here in Southern California. But let's start with a little fact checking. Every episode, there's no way that anybody on the face of God's green earth can sit in here in front of a microphone and speak for an hour and not make at least one little mistake. But we were talking about the motorcycle set in episode 11, and I looked up which are the oldest black clubs, motorcycle clubs. And it's a tie, actually. You mentioned one from the Bay Area. Remember the name of the one?
I do. East Bay Dragons.
East Bay Dragons were founded in 1959.
Okay.
So were the Chosen Few.
Oh, you said that.
1959 also, but the Chosen Few are from LA.
From LA, yeah.
But there's one that's just a couple years older than both of them.
Is that right?
A black club that was founded here in LA. The DOs.
Oh, is that right?
1957 for the DOs.
Man, I was just at the DOs about 3 weeks ago. Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't know they was around that long.
I always knew they'd been around for a long time.
Man,
but
I didn't know they was around that
But there's another one that went defunct. They no longer exist up in the Bay Area that were founded before the East Bay Dragons called the Frisco Riders.
Oh, okay.
And for whatever reason, they don't exist.
Right.
But I would say that the 3 top black ones in California would be the East Bay Dragons, the Defiant ones, and the Chosen Few. Are there any other ones that you throw in there?
You know what? I wouldn't at the moment because I know those guys go back a very, very long time. And, I know the Brothers of the Suns and some of these other clubs been around for years, but I don't know if they've been around that long.
Yeah. We talking about 60 years ago. Let's see, 40, 50, 60. So basically the Defiant ones, the DOs, they're about 65 years old.
Man.
1957. So I always see the DOs. They come to the Slauson annual thing every year, and they got their jackets, and the Chosen Few always come out. I've never met an East Bay Dragon, though. You probably have already, huh?
Yeah, they come down, and the homies go up there and ride with them. They give a nice little show up there and treat everybody with hospitality when they go up there. They actually just had a function up there maybe about 2 months ago. And I didn't go, but I seen all the pictures and footage and stuff from the guys I knew that went, and they laid it out. So it's a positive thing, man, definitely.
Also, I wanted to add that while I was doing the research on these groups, the Chosen Few started off as a black motorcycle club, but they later, about 2 years later, in 1961, allowed white people to join.
Oh, is that right? Didn't know that.
And they're considered the first mixed race club ever. But they were founded by a brother named Lionel Ricks, Lil Frank, Roger, Hawk, Slim, and a woman named Shirley Bates. They were all black. So that's 1959. I wonder if any of them are still around. If they are, I'd love to interview some of these old school riders. Yeah, they should be. If they were 20 years old in 1959, let's see, that means they would have been born in 1930. They'd be 83 years old.
84, yeah.
There might be a few of them still around. I definitely would like to meet some. And another fact check, we were talking about that Sacramento shooting, and we're going to be talking about it for a minute because that was one of the biggest shootings in California history. It turns out that 4 of the victims were with the 2 groups that were shooting.
So now it's 4.
It's 4.
More and more is coming to the forefront of how many actually was not innocent bystanders.
Well, Melinda Davis was the homeless woman. They're saying she's absolutely an innocent bystander. And then there was a Latina woman named Yamil Martinez that's considered an innocent bystander. But Devanzia Turner, John Taya Alexander, she was a girl that was with one of the groups. Sergio Harris and Joshua Hoy, all three of them were members of the two gangs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got that from a guy actually called me up and spent about an hour on the phone with me breaking it down.
Yeah. No, it's always good to get the exact, situation, 'cause like you say, we read stuff in the media, and even the media can lead us to believe that, some of these guys weren't gang members or were. So it's good that somebody called you up and gave you that information.
Yeah, and the two groups in question are called the Garden Block Crips, and the other group is considered, I guess they're like blood affiliated. They're called G Park, G Parkway, or G Mob. And these two groups are rivals, and that's what started the whole shit.
Kicked it off.
Well, one of my contacts actually said that one of the guys used to be a member of the other group. I guess he was a hood hopper, and that's what started the conflict. They just happened to pass each other up in downtown Sacramento, just I guess on a whim, and they were all strapped up, and they got to busting on each other. No doubt. So what else we got here? The YNW Melly trial. It still hasn't started. They're delaying it. I don't know the reason why.
Okay.
But one interesting thing I found out about it is YNW Melly. He's actually accused of killing Anthony YNW Sack Chaser Williams and the who's the other guy's name? Is Sack Chaser and then YNW Juvie. And they decided that they want to bring in some tattoos of YNW Melly into the case. They say that he has gang tattoos, and these gang tattoos will show that he was involved in this double murder. But another tattoo that if they want to bring in YNW Melly's gang tattoos, they got to bring in all his tattoos.
No doubt.
And trip this out. He has a tattoo of the mother's name of the guy he's alleged to have killed.
Wow.
Yeah. He's got a Jana and a Jamie tattooed on his neck. Jamie is his mother, but Jana is the mother of YNW Sack Chaser.
Damn.
So he's accused of killing this dude, but he got his mom's name tatted on him.
That's wild.
It is kind of wild. This is what prosecutors do. They're going to bring in your tattoos. But hey, if a defense attorney says, all right, bring them in, we'll bring them all in.
Right.
So tell me, how does it sound? You telling me that this dude killed the guy that he got his mother's name tatted on his neck?
That could also go a different way, though. That could go.
How so?
It can go and say, look, these guys were such good friends that he had his mom name tattooed on him. He would never do such a thing.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Right. Like the defense attorney is gonna say, yeah, bring it.
Right.
He got his mama's name tattooed on him, and you're gonna tell this jury he killed this dude that he's got his mama's name tatted on him.
Right.
So we'll say, but they also want to bring in one of his songs called "Murder on My Mind." It came out in March of 2017, a year before these murders happened. And what's your whole take on bringing people's art? Basically, this is art.
It is, technically.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure they're going to put the verse in there. I got murder on my mind, AK-47, Mac, Glocks, and 9s. And, but at the end of the day, it's rap music. This is the stuff that we bob our head to. This is the stuff that we get ready for work with. This is the stuff that really just give us a little energy, even though, corporate America listen to rap music. So I know they're going to drag it down through there, but just because somebody raps about this stuff, which we all know, don't mean that they're about the business. And
yeah, these lyrics are just, they're just art to me. Although sometimes their lyrics do reflect reality, you can't, a prosecutor or a law enforcement officer does not have the know-how and the knowledge to be able to differentiate between true art and what might be real.
Well, I believe they do. But what they try to do is convince the jury not to differentiate. So it's not about what the prosecutor believe. It's not about the defense attorney believe. It's about what you can get those jurors to believe. And if they can get those jurors to believe that these guys made this kind of music because they were actually these kind of guys, then hey, you can get a conviction based on, or a feeling based on what they said in these rap lyrics.
Well, the song "Murder on My Mind" by YNW Melly doesn't have anything specific to these two guys, his two friends that he's alleged to have killed. So they're basically just going to take the lyric you just said, AK-47s, Mac 11s, and Glocks. Let's say that they use the Mac 11. The prosecutor
Right.
right.
You do have a little point there, though.
He said Mac 11 in the song. But to me, that's a very weak connection. Just to say he used the Mac 11 and he's got it in his lyric.
It's weak when you talk about taking a person's life. And when I say taking a person's life, I mean convicting somebody and giving them a life sentence. So that's not beyond a reasonable doubt just because somebody said a certain kind of guns. I mean, it's only so many guns that people rap about,
Yeah.
So now if he would have said, a sawed-off 82 shotgun, and that was the exact kind of gun he used. But just to throw those out there, like I said, I believe they're just trying to build up the case to show that these guys are mentally capable of committing this kind of crime, but you're really not proving that. You're just saying that.
Hey, who sang the song way back in the day? I shot the sheriff.
Exactly.
But I did not shoot the deputy.
I remember that.
Now, I don't think no one would ever think, let's take that song and put a case against him, but because it's rap, I think rap gets stigmatized in a certain kind of way.
Well, it gets stigmatized, but let's be honest. Rappers are out there getting themselves involved in gang-related activity. But just because you out there associating with gang members, using gang terms, that don't mean you murdered somebody. So I'm not gonna buy it that rap do get a bad rap because they really try to live. Some of them really try to live the life of gangsters, but that don't mean you murdered somebody.
Well, I actually believe most rappers do not live the life of gangsters. Very few of them, if any, actually do.
No, you got a point there. That's why I said trying to. With some of these rappers, they do try to connect with the street. They do try to get out and hang around some rappers. Some gangsters, I should say. Not particularly putting themselves in a situation, but they do try to go get credibility by hanging around a few gang members, taking a picture and say, hey, look, I'm over here in LA, I'm over here in Compton with some real gang members. But like you say, they're not the ones putting in any work or committing a crime themselves,
Yeah, I don't think Bob Marley would have ever got charged. If he would have got charged, they would have been able to use his music against him because he did say he shot the sheriff in a song.
Yeah, he said that, but like you say, they definitely taking a different angle with these rappers, with these street dudes, and what I think they doing is just trying everything they can to throw in there. And at the end of the day, some of this stuff is going to get weeded out, but what you done already tarnished the jury pool, because you're putting the stuff on social media, you're putting the stuff on the news. And back in the day, jurors couldn't get most of this information because it wasn't a Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or none of this kind of stuff. So they really just throwing everything in there to see what's gonna stick. That's how I'm looking at it.
Well, I want to ask all the listeners out there: do you think songs like "Murder on My Mind" by YNW Melly, should the lyrics of these songs be used against you in the court of law? Hit us up and let us know. It's some funny lyrics here. Yellow tape around his body. It's a fucking homicide. His face is on a t-shirt and his family's traumatized. I didn't even mean to shoot him. He just caught me by surprise. I reloaded my pistol, cocked it back, and shot him twice.
Yeah. I mean, he got some lyrics going on over there, dog. Hey, man.
But it definitely doesn't look good in the court of law. But I don't agree that this song should be used against him at all. And right now, I think that's the reason why it's being delayed, because they're arguing over whether or not this should be admissible.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with the YNW case. That should be going real soon. And Eric Holder was in court today, but because it's happening right now, we don't really have any update on it.
And Eric Holder, for all those that don't know, is the guy that's accused of killing Nipsey Hussle.
That's what they're saying. They saying that he gunned him down, and apparently there's some cameras and some footage that captured the whole thing.
Oh wow.
Yeah, well, the only footage I've seen that has been made public is grainy.
Yeah, it is kind of cloudy, grainy.
Yeah.
Exactly. I saw the same footage you saw. Then.
So no one can say that's him,
Right.
unless there's a witness to
Testify against him.
exactly. So someone has to come in, but I believe there's more camera footage that they haven't released.
I believe so also.
Yeah,
because now they have the technology to get you before you even pulled up to that crime scene in the exact same car, exact same clothes with a very clear picture, so.
Yeah, they're going to have footage of him pulling up, driving off. Even if the actual shooting is grainy, they're going to have footage of him moving around.
Oh, no doubt, especially high profile it was of a case,
That puts him at the scene. But I'm not saying he's guilty. He might be innocent, but I don't know if his trial starts today or if it's just another court hearing.
Court hearing, yeah.
He's been in custody now 3 years, and everyone, no, is it 3? Yeah, 3 years. This happened in 2019, and everyone is wanting for him to go to trial.
Hey, he gonna get there, you know what I mean? Because I'm sure they haven't offered him a deal sweet enough to take, because he would have took it. But that would be jacked up if they go in there and say, "Listen, man, we gonna offer you 25 with no L," and he takes it. Whether he did it or not, you still won't really get to the bottom of, what happened, why it happened, and all that.
Well, I don't think he would take that deal if he feels he's innocent.
Oh, I've seen it done.
Is that right?
Yeah, dude. Take. How old is he?
30, about 31, 32.
31. Come home when he off. They give him 25. He go do 18. He come home still 50 something. Some of these dudes might take it. Not that saying if he's innocent, he might not. But sometimes even when you're innocent, if you're stuck in a situation so bad, sometimes you got to just say, hey.
But it's not any worse for him to go to trial and be found guilty of murder. That's going to carry 25 years. The gun enhancement, maybe another 10. That's 35. So I don't know what his maximum exposure is, but 25 years is not a deal that you would say, okay, I'll take it. I would rather just take him to trial. At least he still have his appeals rights,
Not if you're guilty, though.
Yeah.
If you're guilty and they come with 20 years, you're going to take it.
20 years? Yeah, 20 years maybe. Yeah. A flat 20 years, you're doing 18 years, 6 months on that.
Take, if you're guilty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You almost have to.
But a lot of times in these cases, the prosecution has to consult with the family to make sure that they're okay with it. They don't have to, but they usually do, because maybe Nipsey Hussle's family would not be happy with a deal.
Well, the thing about it is this, a deal, or we can't stick him in trial and he walk. You rather get this 20 out of him, or you rather he walk on because we don't really have enough evidence, Now, don't get me wrong. Before I feel they got to that point, they going to go press somebody to get on that stand. So I don't think that's even an option, because it was too many people standing out there that saw exactly who the shooter was.
Yeah, but they got to come to court. They got to testify, and they got to be convincing. And we'll see. The girl that was in the car with Eric Holder, she seems to be the star witness. Mm-hmm. She's already spilled all the beans.
Oh, okay.
She already actually testified at a grand jury. So, yeah, they got some evidence, but I don't know how much evidence they got. Yeah. But I'll provide an update next week on what happened in court today, if it was just another hearing or if they started jury selection, because basically he's supposed to be going to trial. All right. Let's talk about what we talked about last week. I remember saying that by the time we post this episode, they might be captured.
And you definitely said that, and they definitely got captured.
They got captured. Yeah. We're talking about Casey White, who was an inmate in Alabama, and what was the girl's name? The girl's name, also same last name.
Same last name, White. Was it Vicky?
Yeah. Casey White is the suspect, and Vicky White was the CO. So, yeah, they captured them as soon as we dropped that episode, man.
Man, they didn't get on the run no time. I'm highly disappointed in them, as her being a correctional officer, him being a long-time inmate. It just seemed like you guys would have had a better little plan than that. I just think they got up and started moving around a little bit too much. I believe that if they wanted to stay out there on the run, they were supposed to immediately get somewhere and just lay there. and let a month go by just laying there eating stuff that, you know, y'all had enough money to send somebody to the grocery store to just lay there for a month. And what that would have did was took some of that high power pressure off the state lines and, you know, certain situations, but they got up and got to trying to hit too many states at one time, and that wasn't a good idea to me.
Yeah, I don't know what their game plan was, but they definitely had the resources. Apparently, Vicky White had sold her house, and right before this happened, she sold it for under market value, which means you were rushing.
Right, no doubt.
Like, I guess she saw a window.
A window of opportunity.
Yeah.
And yeah, we got to do it now.
We got to do it now.
Yeah.
I got to sell my house today.
Exactly.
And apparently she had about $90,000, which that's a nice little bag to go on the run.
No, definitely a nice bag to go on the run. That's why I say, you know, not that I'm, you know, condoning this guy getting away. He's a potential murderer. But just on some, you know, on another level, they did a poor job, man. 11 days, man. Come on, man.
Well, they got caught on the border in Indiana, and they went on a high-speed chase, and they didn't really waste no time actually chasing them. They rammed their vehicle.
Oh, they was going, well, no, we getting y'all right now.
Yeah, right now.
Yeah.
We're going to ram your vehicle, and we're going to damage our vehicles.
We not even finna play with y'all.
We don't care about our cars. We flipping your car over. And they did it. And apparently while she was pinned in the car, Vicky White, she decided to commit suicide.
Well, you know, I don't condone by far, you know, taking your own life. But she knew what her fate was. She knew she wasn't finna spend the rest of her life in prison, you know. But I'm also wondering what kind of time would that would have carried. What did she do? Aid in the bed, helping a prisoner escape? You know, certain things like that. But she's 53, you know. You give her 20 years, she might not make it home.
Yeah, I don't know what she was facing, but yeah, I don't know. It's not murder, so it ain't.
Right, that's how I look at it
Yeah.
sometimes. Like, you know, how much time you actually would have gotten. But like you said, at her age, she probably said, you know what, I'm done.
I think they would have gave her at least 10, 15 years.
Yeah, no doubt. But she might, yeah.
She should have just dealt with it. She should have faced the music, huh? She committed suicide over maybe a 15-year sentence.
Man, what she should have did was went and got her some street penis, and she would have been all right. You know, you won't do letting this dude trick you in jail and tell you all these stories that y'all gonna be together. And now you dead. You know, you could have sold that house, went to the strip club with that $90,000, and met somebody and had just as much fun or more than you had with this dude. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of unanswered questions about whatever their plan was, and the only one that knows is Mr. Casey White, the 38-year-old suspect who was about to go on trial for a murder. He's already convicted of an attempted murder, but I'm gonna play this. I want to play this clip from a story that covered it. Let me see here if I can.
More details continue to come to light about how the manhunt for an Alabama inmate and the corrections official accused of helping him came to an end.
You see here a timeline of their route from Florence, Alabama, then up to Williamson County, right outside Nashville, to Evansville, Indiana, just last night. And that's how it ended. Casey White back in handcuffs after a police pursuit led him to crash into a ditch.
Vicky White died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. You just heard him call her his wife, but the two were not related, only believed to be romantically involved, and their plans for escape could have made this situation end quite differently.
Our Chris Davis followed this story to Evansville, Indiana, and shares more after speaking with law enforcement.
We're learning new details and seeing new pictures of the final hours that Casey White and Vicky White spent here in Evansville, Indiana, before they were captured by law enforcement.
Their plan was pretty faulty. They're criminals. Their plan was faulty, and it failed. Thank God.
Vanderburgh County Sheriff Dave Wedding says based off a tip.
Let me pause real quick. I actually think she had a somewhat decent plan because she sold the house, she got $90,000, and she had multiple cars. So they left in one car, dumped that car, got another car, dumped that car. So they got caught in like their third car. So I thought it was somewhat on the right path, but I don't know what the whole plan was.
Right.
All right, let me finish playing it.
Tip, they found escaped prisoner Casey White and corrections official Vicky White, no relation, at an Evansville hotel. That led to a 15-minute car chase that resulted in law enforcement vehicles forcing their getaway car into a ditch. Later, Sheriff Wedding discovered, had that not happened, this all could have ended differently.
And we later found out, had they not done that, the fugitive was going to engage in a shootout with law enforcement. So by our quick thinking, our action, sometimes people may call that unnecessary action, but that action may have saved many of my deputies and fellow law enforcement officers' lives.
As law enforcement closed in, Vicky took her own life and Casey surrendered to police. Inside the car, they found a stash of cash and a trove of weapons.
There were at least 4 handguns, semi-automatics, 9mm.
Casey now awaits extradition back to Alabama, where the sheriff there has vowed he'll never see the light of day again.
When you were on the phone with the Alabama sheriff, was it relief? What was kind of his emotion?
Yeah, we were both kind of happy that a crazy incident has been satisfied, it's over, and his main concern is to bring this person back to pay the price for his crime.
All right, so Casey Smith has already been extradited back to Alabama from Indiana, and I agree. I don't think this guy's ever going to see the light of day.
Nah, they're going to bury him on this one, yeah.
For sure. Yeah, but it's unfortunate that Vicky White, she was a 16-year veteran of her job as a corrections officer, decided to take her life rather than just face the music. It wasn't like she was going to go to prison forever.
Yeah, but at the same time, some people don't want to do a day. So,
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, she should be used to it. She works in the prison, so
And she knew the job was dangerous when she took it. You know what I mean? So I just wonder where they were headed and where was they final stop to whatever they was going to do.
Well, they were traveling north, and who knows? Maybe they were trying to hit the Canadian border. I don't know. Well, I'm sure that in the days and weeks to come, the investigators will kind of unravel their entire plan. And the sheriff down there said he's going to make sure nothing like this happens again. He actually said he was very shocked because he knew her personally. Mm-hmm. He knew her for 7 years straight and would never imagine that she would have done something like this.
Right.
It's crazy that someone would do something this crazy but doesn't exhibit those traits. Like, you could tell somebody that's going to do something crazy, like, they're crazy, so when they do something crazy, it's not a surprise that such and such did something crazy. This woman had no history of doing anything crazy.
Yeah, she did it though. You know what I mean? But that's the thing about it. Some people can wear a poker face. Some people got that poker face. Some people got that game. And deep down inside, man, she was ready to put everything on the line for this dude. I mean, everything. Actually, she put her life on the line, and it didn't work out for her,
Nah, man, it's crazy. A woman that's already 56 years old that has a clean, she has a clean record. It's a little surprising. I'm still surprised that she did it because of her history. Her history is squeaky clean.
Right.
So you just don't expect a 56-year-old woman that has a squeaky clean record to say, I'm about to go on the run. Right. We're going to be on the lam with this killer.
Right. No, you right, man. And I just wondering what was going through her mind. What was her thought process on it? And if any of that information come out, I'll definitely be listening because that's something I would want to know.
Yeah, it's actually it's like a movie. Actually, there was a movie starring Benicio del Toro that I watched with my wife a few months back on Showtime called Escape at Dannemora. It's basically this story.
This story,
yeah. A woman in there fell in love with the dude in there, and he asked her to bring me certain things so that I could plan my escape, and she did it. And it's crazy that I was just watching this. It's actually a miniseries with my wife. So this actually is a true story. Escape at Dannemora. It took place in upstate New York in Clinton prison, and I believe that's the same prison that Tupac was in.
I was going to say that
back in the day.
Tupac was at Clinton.
Yeah. Actually, my little brother, I believe, was there too, back in the day. Mm-hmm. But okay, let's go on to. We didn't get to talk about this last week because we ran out of time, but this whole Tory Lanez, Megan Thee Stallion situation, it's just a little bizarre. It's
wow.
So basically, she is alleging that Tory got out of the car, pulled a gun out, and shot her in the foot. And a lot of people are just not buying her story. Some people are saying that she's lying. she is fabricating the whole thing, and then other people are saying, "No, this dude did it."
Yeah, but I'm wondering why would she fabricate that? You know what I mean? She say the dude told her to dance before he started shooting. You know, I've seen that on cartoons. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
But it's hard for me to see somebody just, you know, making that story up, that somebody shot me. You know, making a story up that somebody hit me or something like that, for me, is more believable than making a story up about somebody actually pulled a gun out and shot me. You know, that's for me, that's hard to kind of believe, to be honest. I think she's telling the truth about that part.
Well, you know, I don't put it past anybody. I remember one of the homies over here one time asked me, "Can you shoot me, Alex?" I was like, "For what?" He says, "I need you to shoot me." I was like, "For what?" He said, "Because I'm in some shit and I need you to shoot me." I was like,
Man,
"Really?"
that's crazy.
You know, and so he needed to get shot so he
Right.
can get out of some situation.
Another situation, yeah.
So, you know, I don't put nothing past anybody. But what did you think of that Gayle King interview that she gave?
I didn't like that. I believe that was suspect all the way around, and I believe that's something that they're setting up. I believe it's a setup for something else. You know, why would you go to Gayle King? Why would you even be talking about a situation that this guy hasn't even went to trial yet? You know, why are you speaking on the facts of a case that's still an open case? You know, so to go to Gayle, you know, I believe politically and indirectly, it's going to come back and it's going to come back to light. We're going to see that interview again somewhere, whether it's in a courtroom or somewhere. I believe, you know, it's going to come back to light.
Well, Gayle is not really a tough interviewer, so that's one reason why I'm almost certain that Megan decided to go to her, because she knows that she's not going to really, you know, press her on some of the questions.
Well, she pressed her on who shot you. She pressed her on if y'all had a romantic situation.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, she pressed her on that, and but also I believe Gayle and them have enough credibility that if they play this in court, they may say that Gayle is credible enough to corroborate, or the interview is good enough to corroborate the truth. So that's what I'm thinking about.
Well, let me play a little bit of Gayle's interview, and then maybe we could talk about certain parts of it. I got the clip right here. Let me.
2020. Let's go there, Megan. That night changed everything for you.
Rapper Tory Lanez has been charged with shooting artist Megan Thee Stallion during an argument.
Megan Thee Stallion hit by multiple gunshots.
There was an argument in the car?
It was an argument because I was ready to go and everybody else wasn't ready to go. But that's like normal friend stuff. Like, we fuss about silly stuff all the time. But I never put my hands on anybody. I never raised my voice too loud. Like, this was one of them times where it was like, it shouldn't have got this crazy.
It shouldn't have escalated to the way that it did.
Okay, let me just pause right there. She's starting to get a little emotional. It seems like she's crying a little bit. And I'm going to play another clip later.
Okay.
Where she's on her Instagram Live. And she on one.
Right.
She's talking her shit. And this is a completely different Megan. So I'm starting to ask myself, why are you getting so emotional in this interview where we've seen you do Instagram Lives and you gangster about it?
Right.
You cursing and you profane with it. This is a whole different Megan Thee Stallion that we're hearing talking to Gayle.
No doubt. That's why I believe that this Gayle interview is some kind of setup for something else. You know, you get on there, you get in your emotions. I truly believe that Gayle interview will be at trial. They will play this for the jury. You know, I'm just hoping the defense attorney come back and play her, shaking her ass, talking shit about the same incident, in a different fashion,
Yeah, let me go back to the clip.
Can you just briefly walk us through what happened that night? It starts, you're at a party at Kylie Jenner's house.
I had went there and we were just hanging out and I was ready to go because I had been there all day.
So you guys end up in a car. You, Tory Lanez, your friend at the time, Kelsey, and his driver/security. Tory Lanez, whose real name is Daystar Peterson, is a Grammy-nominated rapper and singer from Canada. Kelsey Harris was one of Megan Thee Stallion's best friends from Houston. There was an argument, and you get out of the car, right?
At that point, the argument wasn't even with me. Like, the argument was with the two people in the back seat. So I asked the driver to pull the car over, like, I'm done with this. And I should have stayed out of the car. Like, I should have not got back in the car. And they was like, Megan, just get back in the car. We almost there. Like, just get back in. So I get back in the car. It's like it's getting worse.
The arguing in the car.
The arguing in the car is getting worse, and I don't want to be in this car no more. Like, because I see it's getting crazy. So I get out the car, and it's like everything happens so fast. And all I hear is this man screaming. He said, dance, and he started shooting. And I'm just like.
Now, you just brought up that point. Does that sound something realistic? That Tory Lanez really jumped out the car and said, dance, bitch, and started bussing?
You know what and I don't like to put no kind of jackets on nobody.
Yeah.
I'm seriously wondering, was any drugs involved? You know, was anybody high? Had anybody snorted some lines or popped a pill or something? Because this is when this kind of behavior happens.
Absolutely.
You know, so.
Both parties.
So I don't want to sit there and accuse nobody, but just from me listening, seemed like it was some enhancers, you know, involved in this situation to where everybody was sorry because they all knew they probably was high on something, tripped the fuck out, and this situation happened, you know. So when you initially went to go lie, you know, you didn't want to get in trouble because basically you probably was high as too, you know, and bad situation, man.
Because they probably would have done a toxicology test on everybody if they treated it as a shooting at that moment.
Exactly.
But it didn't get treated as a shooting initially.
Exactly. So they were able to get the stuff out their system. I think some of them drugs, you know, it's not like marijuana stay in your system forever. You know, man, it's crazy, man. That's what I'm believing, man. They was all damn near too high to even realize what didn't happen. And once they realized they fucked up, then they like, oh, shit.
All right, let me continue.
Like, oh my God. Like, he shot a couple of times. And I was so scared.
So is he in the car shooting from the car, Megan?
He is standing up over the window shooting. And I didn't even want to move. I didn't want to move too quick, like, because I'm like, oh my God, if I take the wrong step, I don't know if he can shoot something that's like super important. I don't know if he could shoot me and kill me. Like,
were you afraid for your life at that time?
I was really scared because I had never been shot at before. And I looked down at my feet because I wasn't even, the adrenaline is pumping so hard. I'm not sure if he hit me. Like, I feel it, but I don't understand what's happening. So
Let me pause right there because you've been shot before.
Yes.
But not every shooting is the same.
No doubt.
And not every body part reacts the same. It is possible to get shot and not know you got shot.
It definitely is.
Until you realize later on you leaking.
Oh, no doubt. And I've seen it. I've seen it, you know, and to where the homie didn't even know he was shot, you know. But yeah, but in that situation where she says she didn't feel it, it still takes me back to could have been something in your system that made you didn't feel it so as bad at this point, you know. But yes, you definitely can get shot and because of the adrenaline, just like she said, I gotta agree with her on that you don't even know you shot. Yeah.
But she's claiming her injury was in the ankle, and there's a lot of bone in the ankle. There's not a lot of tissue in the ankle. So I'm wondering, can you get shot in that part of the body and not feel it for a while?
Well, I've seen her. Once the police came, she was standing up walking. She had her hands up, you know, and she was doing a little two-step. I don't know if it's because the injuries that started to set in and maybe hurt a little bit. She was hopping around a little bit. But like you say, if she would have got hit in that ankle, I don't believe she would have been able to stand, period.
She had a slight limp, or you calling the two-step? What is that? What was that exactly? Was that a limp or?
Even though if you would have got hit anywhere above that heel, I just don't believe you would have been able to do what she was doing, standing-wise. Once you get hit in that heel, above that heel, you get into the Achilles, you get in towards the ankle, a bullet hit that stuff, bro, you're not walking like that.
Did you notice in that footage that her body is actually blurred? It's blurred out.
I didn't. I can't say from at this point that I can.
It's because she was like damn near naked.
Oh, is that right?
Like she was wearing a bathing suit or a thong or something.
Oh, okay,
so They blurring out her booty and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, what do you? You're in the. I guess they came from a pool party.
Right. They did come from a pool party, but at the same time, you know, you get into a heated argument with a thong on, and hey man, that had to be a hell of an argument.
All right, let's continue listening to this.
I look down at my feet and I'm like, oh my God, like I'm really bleeding. So I like drop down and I crawl in somebody's driveway. Like, I can't believe you shot me.
And what is he saying, Tory Lanez saying
He's
after
apologizing. He's I'm so sorry. Please don't tell nobody. I'll give y'all $1 million if y'all don't say nothing. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you offering me money right now? Help.
What do you think about that part of the story?
Oh, I think that's the real part of the story because we trying to cover some shit up immediately.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Hey, listen, I'll do anything right now.
Yeah.
But I from the pictures that I seen of her foot, I don't believe the bullet hit her directly. I believe it hit the ground.
Ricochet.
And fragments shot up in her foot. That's what I truly believe. I don't think a whole bullet hit her foot.
Is it possible that if you take in the drugs that they were obviously using, that Tory might have just been shooting the gun, but not at her deliberately, but just shooting the gun just in the direction?
Well, that's what I believe, and I believe the fragments, I believe the bullets hit the ground. He probably aimed right at the ground and knew what he was aiming at. But the bullet fragments probably jumped up so fast and hit her, he didn't take that part into consideration because cheap bullets explode like that. You know, better bullets, the whole bullet may bounce and keep going in its direction. Cheaper bullets, they hit anything, they just gonna disintegrate, you know. So I believe that he was shooting the ground, knew he was shooting the ground. I really believe it was an accident. I don't believe he aimed the gun at her, and the bullet fragments hit her.
Yeah, that sounds like a possible situation that, but at the same time, that's enough to get charged, though.
It's definitely enough to get charged, but to go in there and just straight up say, you know, Your Honor, or to tell the DA just straight up, listen, I didn't intend to shoot her. I was shooting at the ground, man. I didn't think the bullet fragments would fly in that direction. They can believe that, though. You know, that's a believable incident. You know what I mean? Especially if that's the truth. You know what I mean? They could definitely say, we know from the reports, even the police can sit here and say, you know what, the bullet didn't hit her directly. These are fragments, too many pieces. She had pieces damn near like glass, but these were just bullet fragments. So, but you're still going to get the maybe assault with a deadly weapon. You're still going to get, if you got any priors or anything like that, you're still going to get all those, but it's not attempted murder or it's not, you know. So I don't know what their defense going to be or how they handle it.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Let me continue.
Help me, like, and if you sorry, just help me, like.
But at that moment,
we didn't even make it to the house. Like, somebody had already called the police, and it was like so many of them. It was helicopters. I was like, oh my God, we all about to die. Like, the George Floyd incident had just happened. The police are definitely very much shoot first, ask questions after. So I'm like, it's a hot gun in the car. I'm bleeding. I've been shot. They about to kill somebody. Like, something bad is about to happen.
So somebody hears the gunshots, they call the police. The police come, and they say what to you?
They tell everybody to get out the car.
TMZ obtained video from that night.
And you could see the footage of me in the swimsuit, limping backwards, feet bleeding.
And they say to you, what happened here?
I don't remember everything they said to me, but I remember them asking me what's happening, what happened to you, and I didn't want them to kill any of us or shoot any of us. So I just said I stepped on glass because I didn't.
Why did you say that? Why didn't you say he shot me?
I didn't. For some reason, I was just trying to protect all of us because I didn't want them to kill us. Like.
Let's talk about that for a minute because I think this is a critical part of the story. She initially denied getting shot, and her explanation is because the police are trigger happy sometimes.
Right.
I think that's a legitimate reason to lie at that moment.
I think it's some bullshit.
Why so?
I really believe that the way she explained that she didn't want them to just come up. I mean, I've been in plenty of situations where it's a gun in the car. Police has found gun, and it's all how they do it. I mean, the police pull up and you got a gun in your hand. That's a whole different situation.
Yeah.
You pull up, 4 people are out of a car. She said, I was shot. He shot me. He doesn't have a weapon in his hand. They're going to lay him down right there. take him in the cuts to their cars, go search that car, find that gun. Unless he got a gun in his hand, the police is really not, and I'm going to be honest with you, police are not that naive. They might not know who he was, but I'm for sure they just might have known who she was. You know what I mean? She's on every news channel, every Instagram post, every, but even if they didn't, they could tell these people come for money, and to pull up and just start killing people, I don't buy that one, Alex. You know what I mean? So to tell her she didn't want nobody to die, if did nobody have a gun in their hand when they pulled up and everybody is standing here accounting for, nobody's in the car, I don't got them just pulling out their guns and start dropping people. I don't got that.
Well, I understand your perspective because you're coming from a place of experience. Megan Thee Stallion ain't probably never been having guns in the car, getting pulled over by the police. She doesn't understand the process. So I think she was truly scared because she knows Tory had a gun in the car, allegedly. There's bullets, ammo in the car. And in an inexperienced female's mind, she's probably thinking that's enough to get us killed, So I could buy what she's saying.
Let me tell you why.
Because she's inexperienced.
I got you. You got a great point, a great one. But let me tell you why I can't buy that one. Because she didn't do this interview the very next day after this happened. She had plenty of time to think about everything that was going on. That was the rehearsed part right there of the story. Where you thought that they was going to try to kill you. You're trying to cover up your tracks from being maybe tried as a perjurer. You know what I mean? You're trying to beat a perjury case by coming up with this defense on why you didn't tell them what really happened. And or you probably was going to take that $1 million because you seen that your foot wasn't shot off. Your foot wasn't hanging off. You had a few fragments in there that, I'm going to get this $1 million and we going to tell this lie. So, and she might have, because Tory had maybe more street experience than her, he could have convinced her to just say this and it's going to be fine. And she went for it. Once she realized the police wasn't as dumb as Tory might have been leaving her to believe, then she had to come clean because now you're looking at perjury charges. That's how I look at it. You didn't go on Gayle King months after this happened and come up with this story that the reason that you said was because at the moment you didn't want nobody to get killed. I can't say she lying. I'm just saying from outside looking in, man. I just really think Tory told her to say that and we gonna be fine if you say this. Just say this, we'll be fine. And she rolled with it until she couldn't roll with it no more and had to say, hold on, bro, I'm not finna go to jail for. That's just how I'm looking at it.
Yeah, I think that Tory talking to her before the police got there was partially influenced her. But I do think she was genuinely scared with, you know how the police pull up when
they do.
When they hear about a shooting, they come in what, 10, 15 cars deep?
Weapons drawn.
Yeah. I see her scared in that situation and she's like, I don't want nobody to get shot over me. So, all right, let me continue.
Even though this person just did this to me, my first reaction still was to try to save us. Like, I didn't want to see anybody die. So I just said, I stepped on glass. So when I see people trying to use that against me, like trying to act like I'm lying, oh, she stepped on glass, she never got shot. I'm the one who said I stepped on glass. I was lying to protect all of us. And sometimes I wish I really would have never said that.
You wish you would have just told the truth.
I wish I would have told the truth, but if it saved all of us from dying, then that's just probably what it was meant to be.
So when you told the police you stepped on glass, did they believe you?
I don't know.
So how did you go from the glass, did you go to the hospital?
So they took me straight to the hospital. And the police questioned me and I said it was just glass.
You still stuck with that story?
I stuck with it was glass. And right as the officers was like, okay, we done with this, we leaving, the doctor came in and he was like, you got bullets in both of your feet. Like, you got fragments in this foot and it's like right on the back of your Achilles. And I'm like.
There is a medical report that says that there were bullets, that you had been shot. And the medical report also says that to this day you still have
bullet fragments
in
my feet.
All right, I got to stop it there because I'm confused at this part. According to this interview, they're claiming bullet fragments in her heel. But a doctor just came out a couple days ago and said that, and a doctor that examined her said there were no bullet fragments in her foot. It was glass.
Oh, wow.
So we have these contradicting statements now. And that's why everyone just the last couple of days been calling Megan a liar, because this doctor just said, "Oh no, it's glass, it's not bullet fragments." So I don't know what's true.
Right.
Because apparently they have a report that says bullet fragments, but this other report just says glass. So I don't know, man.
Right. Well, I don't know either at this point. If that's the case, now like I say, I'm always talking if this is the situation, if that's the situation, but. I mean, I don't think these people could be dumb enough to just say one or the other if it's not true. Like, say when she said it was glass and it was really bullet fragments. Well, where's the glass that you stepped in? What is it? Did you step in it somewhere else? And not to mention, we just got a call about gunshots. So sometimes when people tell their story because they scared, she'd have been better off saying she don't know what happened and never saying nothing else.
Well, I'm gonna post a photo to our Instagram page, Streets and Scholars, that has a picture of her heel, and I'm showing this to you right now. Does that look like a bullet could have caused that type of damage on the inside of her heel? It looks.
Not to me. I mean, it really more looked like some glass maybe, but at the same time, if those bullets hit her going at that amount of speed, it could have just ripped some of the flesh off.
But you said that if it might be a ricochet of bullet fragments could it do this type of damage? I'm saying no.
Oh, I believe it could, no doubt, because when that bullet breaks up into pieces, it's still pieces that's close together, so it could have ripped that piece of the heel off, and a few could have got stuck in the on the inside. Now, I'm speaking because every time I go get a chest x-ray, you see the bullet and then you see about 4 or 5 fragments. And it's crazy that when I get an x-ray, I don't tell them, no, I used to go every year to try to get an x-ray just to make sure it wasn't moving, but it's been so long, I don't get that anymore. I just had a physical not too long ago and I didn't say nothing. I took a chest x-ray. I took a shoulder. My shoulder was hurting and I took a shoulder x-ray and I watched the lady. She's like, oh my God, you know what I mean? And she said, you want to see? I mean, I've seen it plenty of times, but at the same time, you can see the fragments. They're very small. But that looks crazy.
It does look crazy. It looks more like a bruise. It looks like a scrape. It looks like the skin has been peeled off.
Yeah, but it seemed like it.
And look, there's some stitches up here that are holding these two parts together. And for those who don't know, just go to the Streets and Scholars Instagram page. I have a picture of this up there right now. So that means that this injury goes further up, where this can
open up,
that way, and this can open up. It just looks like a weird injury to be caused by a bullet. So that's another thing.
Yeah, you're right. I gotta agree with you on that. The dude looks weird, to be honest with you.
And I'm gonna post this. We're gonna see what people say about it. I mean, I don't want people commenting if you got no knowledge of getting shot and what bullets do. People might have opinions on this and they don't really know.
Right.
But the rest of the interview is basically there's one more thing she says, which I think is worth talking about. Gayle King asked her if she was involved in a sexual relationship with Tory Lanez, and she paused. Had to think about it for about a half a second. Smiled, and then denied it. And apparently, Tory Lanez has a reputation of being with women.
Right.
And I'm sure that, he ain't just hanging out trying to be her platonic friend.
No doubt. I believe, like I say, I'm only giving my opinion, but I believe it's the opinion of a million other people who seen that exact interview and that part of that interview. So, girl, you sitting up here lying your ass off. The way you did the whole thing, you could have just said, oh, no, not at all. It could have still been lying, but you wasn't even convincing, So say if Tory Lanez get up there and prove that you guys did have a sexual relationship, okay, so now this tarnishes your testimony. This tarnishes, and that's what people don't understand, that you need credibility on the bullshit part of the case in order to get credibility when the facts come in.
If you can prove anything that she says a lie, then you have to disregard her whole story. That's what they tell you in court when someone's testifying. If you can find one flaw in this person's testimony, you can disregard the entire testimony.
Yeah, I've seen it done personally, man. And like you say, with that comment right there, if she repeats that, if she testifies against him and says no, that could make the jury believe that this woman is just a liar. and we don't know what to believe, and it can help Tory, you know, just to be honest with you. I think it then got to the point to where she really don't want him to go to jail, you know, because she already stuck her neck out there for him once to say it was glass. If it wasn't, she stuck her neck out there to say that it was. And so I think they just really want to get out of this the best they can without him probably doing too much time, you know.
I don't think she cares now. She's already kind of given up on that idea.
Well, I believe it's for two reasons. One, I believe because, you know, the perjury. If you told you definitely lied. You stated that you lied. That's facts that you lied to the police.
Well, that's lying on a police report. That's not perjury. You got to do perjuries in court. In the court.
Okay.
But if she lied on a police report,
making false statements, though, right?
She can get a charge lying on a police report or giving a false statement regarding a felony.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, in her case, she probably don't want to take a misdemeanor. So they, you know, her going after him full-fledged could be the results of her not wanting to be implicated in anything that's criminal. So she's going to go hard on him. Not to mention, he probably messing with a new girl now. So, you know, they getting their feelings fast, man. So
apparently he was already messing with a new girl that day.
That could have been the problem.
And I believe that maybe the argument might have had something to do with that. But I want to play this other clip of Megan. This is when people were accusing her of lying. This is back in 2020 after the shooting. And she went on her Instagram Live, and listen to how she was talking on her Instagram Live.
It ain't like let me go run and tell my business to the motherfucking internet. Let me go run and tell my business to the police. Like, you know what I'm saying? I ain't never been that type of person. Like, but I'm not gonna let y'all keep playing in my face. And I'm not gonna let this keep playing in my face either. So, since y'all so worried about it, yes, this Tory shot me. You shot me. And you got your publicists and your people going to these blogs lying and stop lying. Why lie? I don't understand. I tried to keep the situation off the internet, but you dragging it. You dry shot me. Like, everybody in the car, it's only 4 in the car. Me, you, my homegirl, and your security. Everybody in the car arguing. I'm in the front seat. This in the back seat. I get out the car. I'm done arguing. I don't want to argue no more. I get out. I'm walking away.
Let me pause it right there. They're done arguing. Arguing about what? I think they were arguing about Tory just had his eyes on somebody at the party and she wasn't feeling it.
No doubt. Exactly. And she kind of went in there and said, she damn near said, I tried to get you out of it, motherfucker. You know what I mean? But yeah, she was arguing about the female. Arguing about that girl, man.
And how do you compare the way she's talking on this Instagram Live to the way she's giving Gail the interview? It's like a whole nother personality.
It's a whole nother personality, but she's saying on both of them, he shot me. So at the end of the day, the jury could look at it like we don't give a damn what her personality was on each one. She stuck to the story that he shot me, you know, so.
Let me play this one. This is another Instagram Live. And let me also note that she's deleted these off of her account, but, you know, people snatched them down.
Right.
And here's another one.
Like, I'm so over this shit. And y'all gotta know, I am the nicest, the most calm, just cool ass woman. Like, I don't be fucking with nobody. I don't do nothing to nobody. But y'all motherfuckers really dragging it. Like, I tried to just be cool, stay out the way, because at the end of the day, I'm really a real bitch. Like, I'm from Houston. I'm from the motherfucking South Side. It ain't like let me go run and tell my business to the motherfucking internet. Let me go run and tell my business to the police. Like, you know what I'm saying? I ain't never been that type of person. Like, but I'm not gonna let y'all keep playing in my face. And I'm not gonna let this nigga keep playing in my face either. So, since y'all hoes so worried about it, yes, this nigga Tory shot me. You shot me. And you got your publicists and your people going to these blogs lying and shit. Stop lying. Why lie?
All right, we're going to end that right there. That's actually 2 minutes of a 7-minute clip of her ranting. I don't know why she would even take to the internet when this is an open case. All the investigators are downloading all of these lives, and they're going to sift through it and build a case.
They're going to build a case, and also, but the defense attorneys is going to go do the same thing.
Exactly.
Now, the whole thing about it, if she was so, and it could have been his fault, because he could have been the one who told her to say something. But at the end of the day, why don't just say nothing? Why people don't understand that? Why say nothing? We get our attorneys, and we talk through our attorneys. Let them feel whatever they feel right now. We all may go to jail and have to bond out. But at this moment right now, we not saying anything. And that's the whole thing about it. People want to go, and now she take it to the internet and snitching on the internet, because that's basically what you're doing. But even if you're going to tell, you know what I mean? Because I don't take her. She talking about she from Houston, she from the streets. You're not. You may be from Houston, but you're not from the streets like that. And but if you're going to tell, go tell, lady. Why is you on the internet telling? You know what I mean? And that's where the emotions come in. And some of these young people, are you worried about somebody saying he really didn't shoot you? Why is you even worried about what somebody else saying right now when you know that this case is going to go to trial? You're going to have to give your testimony. Whatever you want to happen to him is going to happen to him. So why is you getting on all these social media platforms and all this snitching on the dude, and he's not even in court yet? So, I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't believe that was cool what he did, though. He shot a female. You know what I mean? You could have got out and slapped the dog shit out of her. Not that I condone that, but it's better than shooting a motherfucker. And you wouldn't be in jail right now. Yeah. I mean, or you wouldn't be accused of shooting somebody right now if that was the case. So that's why I say, man, there had to be some extracurricular drugs, in their system that make them, do the crazy shit that they did.
Well, ever since this case has become a national story, people started digging into Megan's life, and they found this mugshot from 2015. I'm gonna post this picture on the Instagram page, Streets and Scholars, on Instagram. And this is a domestic violence case where she was the aggressor.
Oh, wow.
In a public place, and this kind of mirrors this Tory Lanez situation. She found out her boyfriend cheated on her with a girl. They were at a public place. I think it was a concert, and they got to physically fighting. And when the police pulled up, they see her assaulting the guy, and they arrested her.
Damn.
So she just did this live talking about how she's the coolest girl and she doesn't want no drama. But I'm starting to think that this is a toxic female.
Oh no, she sound like she got some toxic traits of temper for real. You know what I mean? And but like you say, those defense attorneys is going to have all this information. They're going to go, they're going to display this information. Not saying Tory didn't actually do this, but they're going to, they're going to do their job too, So man, I wasn't that so much interested in this case at first, but now, man, I want to see how this turns out.
Yeah, man. I think we're going to learn a lot of things that the general public doesn't know. We're going to find out that Megan Thee Stallion is definitely a hothead. She is one that has created problems with men in the past. She has put her hands on men before. In this 2015 arrest, I read through some of it where she was punching, she was hitting, and she started the entire physical conflict with this man. And that's why this mugshot exists, because they decided, the police, to take her into custody.
I'm going to agree with you on all that, Alex, but I am going to go back and say that I do believe that he really didn't try to. I believe he was really trying to, like he's like on cartoons, bitch, dance and shoot at the ground, not knowing that, like I say, these cheaper bullets, they break up into so many pieces, or hollow points, they break up into so many pieces, and but I don't believe he tried to.
No, definitely. I don't agree that he was trying to kill her or attempted murder. He was just probably sick and tired of her arguing in the car.
And not to mention, you ain't finna put your hands on me, motherfucker.
Oh, yeah. And who knows,
you
maybe
probably know she got priors,
Maybe she did do some more things that we don't know about. She made it seem like there was an argument in the car with other people and that she was not a party to that.
That's what I thought at first, until she said, I'm done arguing. No, you was arguing.
She was the one that's arguing. She was the one turning it up in that car, and I bet you Tory was just like, can you STF you?
Because listen to this. Why would he be arguing with your homegirl? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Tory and her homegirl was in the back seat. Megan was in the front. Why would he be arguing with your girl?
Not at all.
He wouldn't be.
Not
you know
at
what
all.
I mean? So the more and more that this come out, man, the more and more, and they'll start to look at it in a different way.
Well, man, we have one more thing to talk about, but we're out of time. But we could just briefly mention that we were going to talk about the Young Thug / Gunna RICO indictment that just came down last week. And it's a big case. They arrested 27 people,
Man.
and this is a Georgia RICO. This is not a Fed RICO. So a lot of people get it confused. They see RICO and they automatically think it's the Feds. Georgia they have their own RICO statute, and basically they're saying YSL is a gang, their little hip hop thing.
I was going to ask you, the gang professor himself, do you consider, from the research that you've done and what you've seen so far and looked at, do you consider YSL a gang, a street gang?
Well, it all depends on what definition you're using, because there's like 100 gang definitions, and if you use a particular definition, it might be. But let's go with California's definition. If you use California's definition of a gang, then YSL wouldn't be it.
Okay.
Because in California's definition, you have to have a pattern of criminal behavior that has at least 2 convictions of people from that gang that have committed felonies. They call it predicate acts.
Wow.
So with YSL, you have to show me that there's 2 YSL members, and in California, it has to be within a 3-year period.
Damn.
So you got to show me a YSL member that got convicted of a felony a year ago in the name of YSL, and another YSL member that got convicted of a felony in the name of YSL. And YSL's a hip hop thing. This is their first rodeo, basically.
Right.
So it wouldn't, but that wouldn't mean that the prosecutors in California wouldn't try.
Right, no doubt. And I was just going to tell the Streets and Scholar listeners, that's why I love to sit down with Alex Alonso, man, because he's going to bring you facts straight to the table every single time. Now, in Georgia, the circumstances may be a little different. And in order for them to get the RICO, I believe the RICO Act, you had to have, is it 5 or more participating members from the same gang to even charge them with a RICO?
Well, Georgia actually has their gang definition uses the number 3, 3 or more. The feds use 5.
Okay.
Georgia uses 3. California uses 3. I don't even know how they come up with these numbers.
Right.
It's crazy that California's definition, only 3 people can make up a gang conspiracy. All you need is 3 guys.
Now, can the prosecutors or the defense attorneys argue that YSL it's not a gang?
The defense attorneys can only argue it if they bring in the experts to support that, because on the defense side, there's no one that could go on the stand that can say YSL is not a gang unless they bring in an expert. Unless they're not, the defendants aren't going to testify. The jury's not going to let these guys say we're not a gang and they believe it. But if you have an expert come in there and break down what a gang is and what a gang isn't, and how this is music, this is hip hop, then you can probably make the case.
Right, because we all know that there's so many cliques and crews that's come around. I mean, the Cash Money Boys, P. Diddy and his guys, No Limit Soldiers, and these guys are really all rap label artists with a lot of people on their labels, some of them were street dudes, but that don't mean that they were gangs, So I'm just wondering how much do they have on these guys to actually prove that 1, they were a gang, and for 2 to even hit them with a RICO like that.
Well, I was flipping through it's an 88-page indictment. I was flipping through a few of the pages, and it actually reads very weak. Young Thug is accused of renting a car that some other people used to do something.
Oh, wow.
Now, under state law, normal non-RICO state law, then Young Thug is not responsible for that.
Right.
But under RICO, racketeering, influence, corrupt organization, they can say, well, Young Thug rented the car under the guise of they're going to do a gang shooting in the car, therefore he's responsible for it. So that's why they're hitting him with that. And then also with the RICO, you can go back 10 years in Georgia. So they're pulling up stuff that happened in 2013.
Right.
So they got 2013 offenses, 2017 offenses. And then what really kind of blew my mind is they went back to Young Thug's house after they first arrested him, and they found some guns. So now they added the guns that were found in his house to the case.
Okay.
Which is kind of weird because if he got arrested at his house, kind of like the way you got arrested in your house. But they actually went through your house and found the shit.
Right.
When he got arrested, they didn't go through his house. They just took him into custody. But then they went back a day later, went through the house and found some guns. So I don't know if they didn't have the warrant at the time of his arrest, but they're going to be adding those gun offenses to the case. But I was reading it and it seems kind of weak.
And it's all a state case.
It's all state case. The GBI, the Georgia Bureau of Investigations.
Let me ask you this: do Georgia do how much percentage of their time? Do you know how much percentage of their time that they do in Georgia?
Nah.
Okay.
We'll go into this again next week because we're running out of time. So I just wanted to just briefly touch on it. Anything else you want to add to the young thug case?
Nah, man, I'm anxious to see how this turns out just about the law in Georgia and see, how this works out because I've never heard of a state RICO.
Yeah, there's a few states that have them. Georgia definitely. In fact, I have a personal friend that's from here in LA that got picked up on a Georgia RICO. He's never even been to Georgia. But they're saying he's the leader of an Atlanta gang that has the same name here in LA. And because of social media and because he had a podcast and he had a website and he also talked about the hood a lot, they're alleging that he's the leader of the Atlanta faction of the set.
Got you.
And it's 100% lies. Because I know this dude personally. His name is Ronald Chapman.
Okay.
He's sitting right now in the Upson County Jail. Ronald Chapman, a.k.a. Mad Ronald. He's been in there already a year and a half, and he hasn't even looked. They haven't even showed him any evidence in a year and a half. So when I saw the Young Thug indictment, I immediately thought about my boy Mad Ronald because they have no evidence against Mad Ronald, but they still holding him there.
Right.
So I'm hoping that the Georgia Bureau of Investigators eventually release Mad Ronald on this trumped up, dumb RICO offense that they got him under. He ain't never participated in any offenses with those dudes in Atlanta. And because of that, I'm a little suspect of this Young Thug indictment. I'm reading this stuff and I'm like, what? Rented a car 10 years ago and you charging them? But yeah, we'll get more into this case as it starts to unravel. More information will come out. But yeah, I'm gonna break this whole indictment down, and Young Thug's attorney better start hiring some gang defense experts. Man. Because they're going to come in there with all the BS and they're going to start saying that YSL is a notorious Atlanta, Georgia gang, but they really don't got no gang history. So on that note, man, where can the people tap in with you, FG?
You can tap in with me at FGeneral1 on Instagram and, of course, on YouTube at FG Unleashed. But we appreciate you for tapping in with us on Streets and Scholars.
And also, we got the Instagram page, Streets and Scholars Instagram. It's actually streets.and.scholars. And we'll have images of everything we spoke about on there that you can check out. Leave a comment, and you could ask a question, and you could hit me up at Alex Alonso 101. And that wraps up another fire episode of Streets and Scholars.